The Zodiac Legacy Convergence is the first book of a new series of books. This book was co-written by Stan the Man Lee, Stuart Moore, with some illustrations done by Andy Tong. Our basic story is a young Chinese American teenager discovers an ancient energy source that grants powers based on what animal the Chinese zodiac you are. Basically, if you're born in the year of the dragon, rooster, etc., etc., etc. Stephen, the boy, not Steven, as in Steven Universe, is granted the powers of the tiger and finds himself in a fight for his life against mercenary forces, trying to steal Zodiac powers for themselves, as well as their leader Maxwell with the power of the dragon. This plot, for how simple it is really good. It quickly goes past the basic origin plot and moves on to the whole gathering a team plot before a full-on battle between both forces converge. Steven himself is a pretty likable character, dealing with his new powers as well as trying to find and help other people who are suffering from the same affliction he is. He sort of becomes a de facto leader of the ragtag group and discovers more of the abilities of the tiger, which allows him to basically act as support and tank for the entire party. The fight scenes are great and plentiful. This book is full of action, with each character getting their own time to shine, showing off their respective skills and powers, as well as how those powers have grown since where they started from when they first showed up. Speaking of characters, the villain Maxwell's also pretty good. He is a major threat with the dragon, as he's concentrating his forces on trying to get the other powers for himself. On top of that, he's a constant presence, as he's a tug-of-war against Jasmine, who serves as sort of the mentor figure, for the full power of the dragon, as it's been split between the two of them. And he's winning throughout the whole story, so that should also give you a hint of how powerful he is. Again, Jasmine acts as the mentor figure, teaching Stephen and the others about how to control and use their powers, while also struggling to contain her own power from Maxwell, which she's slowly losing that tug-of-war, of course, as I said that earlier, and dealing with her own issues in relation to Maxwell and various other characters, who I won't go into. As for powers, there's a wide variety of different powers on display here, with each ability user having their own unique abilities and powers. That ties to their animal in question. The dragon, of course, being the strongest, and the tiger being considered the second strongest. The powers themselves, again, have interesting effects depending on the user, such as the dog transforming into a full-blown wolf man, as well as the ram being indestructible, as well as the owner of the boar or pig basically being able to wreck any form of technology just by touching it. As mentioned earlier, there's an illustrator on task, and they have various illustrated pages amongst the written ones in the book. It gives a sense of the goings-on, and of course the looks of the goings-on, and really looks good at the same time. I really can't critique art too much aside from saying it looks good, and the only complaint I have about this artwork is that sometimes the action shown in the illustration doesn't match the action scene that it's supposed to be leading to, which is a bit of oddness, but I can imagine that there wasn't some communication on the ad end or some editing got involved, so it's easily ignored. If I have to critique anything as a purely bad or negative thing, even how minor it is, it's how fast-paced the story is. The plot and characters are constantly moving and never really standing still to settle, which is, again, only a minor complaint, but it's kind of exhausting with the rapid transitions. One point you're following Stephen in Ireland, the next point you're following Jasmine in Africa, and then Stephen in France. It's just kind of exhausting. I will, however, say the fast pace helps it, as it doesn't feel too bogged down by mindless minutia. On top of that, it makes the fight scenes flow as well as gives their full detail. Overall, it's a complaint, but still, as I stated earlier, a minor one. And overall, it helps the book rather than hurts it. It's just exhausting on the reader. Overall, I have to say this is a good book, as well as a good read for kids or people who like superhero stories, because in its essence, it's a superhero story that uses the tropes of various superhero stories and takes its own twists and turns on them. The gathering of a team, an evil villain, so on and so forth. You get the drill how these superhero stories go. Interesting note is the fact that there's rumors that this book is planned for a movie. This is, of course, published by Disney Publishing, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle this as a movie. Even if it just ends up as a made-for-TV Disney Channel movie, it'll probably be one of the better ones of that feature. Anyway, I hope you give this book a shot. Again, it's pretty good. It's relatively new. It's honestly pretty cheap on Amazon. If you get your books through Amazon, I've seen it at Barnes & Noble, but I haven't figured out what it's priced at there. And there's a sequel with several more books on the way. Maybe we'll get to the sequel next time, maybe we won't. Well, until next time, see you then.